In this daily drop, we're going to talk about downtime as a freelancer or someone who's self-employed. So let's go. All right, good morning, everybody. Well, it might not be morning for you when you're watching this, but for me, I'm in the barn. It's early on a Sunday, this being my Monday because of the daily drop. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, especially because we're going into the holiday season, downtime. Now, of course, downtime during the holidays, hopefully for most people, is the time that you're spending catching up with family and friends, a much needed break, and really, in my opinion, a big part of the work-life balance. It's a little bit different for me because I'm doing the daily drop, but my commute, quote unquote, is not very long to get out here, and I'm really enjoying doing the series. So it's not really work for me. But when you talk about downtime throughout the year, one of the things that I wanted to discuss was, at least for me and for a lot of people who are freelancers or who are self-employed, we go through these ups and downs, these waves, whatever you want to call them, where we might be working consistently for a few days, a few weeks, hopefully a few months. Sometimes, occasionally, it's happened to me once for years. And then the bottom falls out and you're not working at all. It's just nothing. And it's a really strange place to be because if you're running your own business, when you're working consistently, you're not thinking about promoting yourself. You're not thinking about reaching out. And it's always this cycle that's just kind of messy. And unless you have a sales team or people who are going out to actively get work, it can be this cycle that you go through that's seemingly never ending. Really busy, no money at all, not busy at all. So for me, the question is, what do you do with that downtime? Now, of course, you want a work-life balance, and that's probably why, if you're doing this, you want it to be your own boss, and you could decide on what your hours were, and you're going to work really hard at times and then have some time off for your family or your friends or whatever else you wanted to do to fulfill yourself in other parts of your life. But it's really important that that you think about that downtime and what it is that you're going to be filling it with. One of the things I've really realized since doing the daily drop since August of this year is when I'm not busy, how much actual time I really have. Now, that doesn't mean you can't spend and you shouldn't be spending time every day promoting your business and the work that you do and reaching out to get more work, but you're probably not going to do that 8 to 10 hours a day. So what do you fill the rest of the time with? And what is it that you do to sort of feed that creative soul and do things that are going to educate you on things that maybe are interest areas? And I think that's one of the things to look at, is educating yourself on things that you're passionate about or you've always wanted to learn about that may make their way into the work that you're doing. For instance, when the pandemic hit, we all knew that we were going to be at home and that we couldn't go anywhere. And one of the things that was very apparent to me was I was going to have to figure out a way to work remotely. And I didn't really know what that was all going to look like, but what I did is I ordered the original A10 Mini. I set up a teleprompter. I started to set myself up unknowingly for what the next chapter of what I was going to be doing work-wise. So I educated myself on using a product like the A10 Mini, eventually the A10 Mini Pro, how to set up a teleprompter and do things remotely so that not only could I have effective Zoom conversations and calls with people like this, but that I could remote direct. I didn't know I was going to remote direct, but I was setting myself up for that, for live streaming, all kinds of stuff. So take the opportunity in your downtime to educate yourself on things or get yourself set up for things that might be the next chapter of what you're going to be doing work-wise. And that sounds like a big thing, and it's got to be personal to you and what you're passionate about. But I think that's something to be thinking about when you do have that downtime. Since I've been doing the daily drop since August, really, it's unbelievable how much time I really have now that I'm filling it with doing this, or how much time I have when I have downtime. The other thing is to sort of feed that creative soul. So whether it's cooking or music or just going out and taking photographs, whatever it is, one thing for me that's always been sort of a brick wall is learning some basic music theory. I love music. I love the whole subject of music, but it's been very difficult, even though I'm a pretty technical person, to kind of break through that. And one piece of advice I have in any subject matter that you want to learn for the first time is go very, very basic. For instance, this is a chord crash course. This is a book that is made for children. And I don't think there's anything wrong at all with going basic for a subject matter that you know little or nothing about. In fact, as adults, it's very easy for us to say, I should know this, or I'm an adult, so I can't buy a children's book. But I think that's completely the opposite. If you're learning a new language, you're learning music theory, which is a language, then you need to go basic because you're learning for the first time, or you're trying to build on those things that you couldn't break through when you were a kid, and there's something you didn't understand. It's a gradient or some word or words or whatever it's going to be that maybe going this route is going to be the starting point for you to actually learn the subject that you may have always wanted to learn about. So fill that downtime. Make sure you have work-life balance, but look to the things that you have always wanted to learn about. Start basic, build from there. Obviously, part of that is getting into the rhythm and practicing or doing. That's the most important. That's what I got for you on this Sunday morning. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.